Disclaimer, I do not dislike CinemaSins, and that is not a lie. For my next Everything Wrong with CinemaSins video, I'm going to be singing their video on the nut job, and I'd like to give a thanks and dedication to John Johnson Jr. for requesting this video. Enjoy the video, everyone. To start off, you made this look like everything the wrong with nut duh job.
Over a full minute of 6 f***ing animated logos.
Well, this kind of thing is going to keep happening because this is a way in which a movie works.
When you're an animal, life's a balancing act.
Narration.
See the previous sin.
Movie's opening f***ing shot is basically a ripoff of a Pixar short.
Oh, so would you call this a ripoff, Jeremy? Because if not, that means it's a representation of something in real life.
Movie's protagonist is an asshole.
Yes, but this is how Surly is characterized, and like the Birdman has said, characterization is not a sin.
Also, and this is God's honest truth, in college I was friends with a guy who was in
Next.
a cart devoted to selling humans edible nuts puts a nut in its logo that no human would ever eat. Also, you devote your life's work to selling roadside peanuts and cashews, and the best you can come up with is Maury's Nut Shop. Take a cue from The Simpsons and pun away. Maybe Saturday Nut Fever, or Cashew Outside, how about that?
The movie could have done that, but I guess it was afraid you'd call it a ripoff if it made that decision.
Now they're ripping off the everyone pitches in and stands in line to help store nuts thing from A Bug's Life.
Have optimism, brethren. Stiff upper lip, everyone.
Hearing Liam Neeson voice a vacuous raccoon is like watching Steve Martin do porn. It's just wrong on every level.
Jeremy makes an inappropriate comment, cliche.
Every article in this newspaper is either gibberish or literally this movie's screenplay.
Well, like I said in the Shrek Forever After video, this is most likely here to make it all look like an article.
You want nuts?
I originally wrote a sin here where I simply described what just happened on screen, but even that sounded too dirty, even for us.
I know what you guys are thinking. Was that even a sin? My answer to that question is that it's not, and because of that, this will be getting my award.
The movie uses the actual complete storyboard pitch for the film as an in-movie prop.
Or maybe it's the movie's way of showing how a squirrel can draw?
Work together. We can work out a deal.
The movie tries to make the only likable character the one voiced by Katherine Heigl.
Yeah, Andy is one of this movie's likable characters, but I would argue that there are other likable characters in this movie, such as Buddy.
Hey, Sugar Ray, take the gloves off.
Sugar Ray? That's like a 30-year-old boxing reference at this point. Is this movie taking place in the 70s, or is it just a dated boxing reference? Worst thing is, the movie will never answer this question.
Yeah, because it's not important to the story that the movie is telling us.
No, seriously, after a brief sidewalk chase, this nut cart fell about 8 feet into a ravine and caught fire!
Narration.
Can I tap out here? Is that possible? Chris, can I get a ruling on this? I'd like to walk away right here now and let some other sucker finish writing sins for this shit. Physics for the Nut Job brought to you by the same folks as the Fast movies. Might as well call it the Fast and the Furriest.
Habit of taking something animated seriously brought to you by CinemaSins.
Magical sticking brick!
But it's not magical sticking because it falls on top of Surly afterwards.
For darting straight ahead through all these shoes, Surly deserves an honorary degree from the Prometheus School of Running Away from Things.
Personally, I wouldn't say that Surly attended the Prometheus School of Running Away from Things. Why? Well, let's look closer at this scene, shall we?
Yes, they did just smack face first into a brick-and-mortar version of the Nut Shop, the cart they f***ed with that started this whole adventure, because this giant city is actually super small.
Narration.
That's a dead squirrel.
Well, in these types of movies, the main character, meaning the protagonist, doesn't die.
No one in the history of ever put this many mousetraps in their rafters. I mean, the movie Mouse Hunt aside, obviously.
But that's what the movie's showing you here.
Buddy, I ate too much cheese.
Fart jokes, the lazy writer's comedy crutch.
Which is ironic coming from the guy who calls things lazy without giving any explanation as to why they're lazy. So since there was no explanation here, I'd call this lazy writing.
Surly!
How f***ing tiny is this city? Also, Oakton whiskey, big oak ton. What's with all the oak puns? Is it just the acorn thing? Because if so, then they went to Carrot Top workout levels of too far here.
What's with you asking questions that have nothing to do with this movie's story?
The rat silently pulls on Surly twice instead of simply saying, "Humans are coming, you dipshit. Let's get out of here."
Well, yeah, since Buddy doesn't talk much.
Winter is coming.
F*** you, movie that came out well after Game of Thrones, and this phrase was well established in pop culture. F*** you all the ways. Someone remind me why we care about this heist again. Do we even know enough to root for or against it?
You know you don't have to root for the protagonist or their goals, right? I mean, let's look at this animated protagonist scorecard, shall we? As you can see, the person who made this didn't root for 14 protagonists. And also, Electric Dragon 505 questioned why you should root for Surly in his review of this film. So overall, you don't always need to root for the hero.
The movie includes 2 different heists in this heist movie, and neither one has the decency to actually be interesting.
That's just your opinion on them, so as usual, this will be getting my award.
Enough cashews to buy yourselves a racetrack.
If cashews can stand in for the word dollars, then literally any word can. I'm gonna shake him down for 40 tomatoes.
Next.
Okay, cut it out!
I hate you, movie.
While I don't like this movie either, just simply saying that you hate this movie isn't good enough to be considered a flaw.
The coincidence of the brick, shovel, and TNT placement is infuriating, to put it mildly.
So, are you going to tell us why, Jer?
That squirrel was trying to blow up the nut straw, and Precious stopped him!
That might be the single biggest leap in film history.
Wait, what happened to the black around the sin counter and sin timer here?
Yep, another sin for the film for this goddamn acorn-logoed nut shop having opened in 1892 and stayed in business this long.
Pointing things out on the screen.
I get that his character arc is to mature from being a self-centered dick, but more than halfway in and he's still callously face-planting the only person that's been nice to him? I think we might be teetering on unredeemable.
But Surly does redeem himself in this film. He redeems himself by rescuing the animals from the gang's truck later on, and also by sacrificing himself to protect the others from Raccoon.
Grayson? Surly?
Here's another random bump into moment in a film ostensibly taking place in New York City, or some other huge metropolitan area. Just, hey, this person is now here, deal with it.
Congratulations, you just told us what we're seeing in the movie here.
Okay, how about this one?
Me.
Jeremy sins himself cliche.
Here's a shot of a dog and a squirrel giving CPR to a couple of groundhog beaver somethings. And that is weird, yo. How do animals know CPR?
It's because they have human characteristics. Come on, how many animated movies are needed to tell you that?
He saved my butt! He saved my butt!
It was my butt.
But. Now laugh. Yes, let's bring the head mobster down to look at the squirrel we caught.
Pointing things out on the screen.
Shut it. And grab me that blowtorch.
So you're going to torture a goddamn squirrel?
Yeah. We gotta go do, tunnel stuff.
Movie gives me another euphemism for taking my wife to bed. Nah, that's how you double entendre.
Jeremy makes an inappropriate comment, cliche.
The mobster's girlfriend, who somehow found a way down here, grows a conscience and lets Surly out of his cage.
Narration.
Oh joy, the green rats are back. They somehow tracked this guy here in a humongous city because we needed to pad the runtime. Duh.
This is you just telling us what was just happening in the movie.
And Liam Neeson's raccoon shows up right at this moment as well, in case you hadn't yet realized he was a selfish evil dick.
See the previous sin.
Dynamite Ex Machina.
Okay, Jeremy, you really need to look up what a Deus Ex Machina is. Just before this, the movie shows the bad guys counting down before setting off the TNT. Something that would be a Deus Ex Machina is if a character fell off a cliff and a mythical being not already shown shows up and saves them. Do you get it?
This guy half-ass closes this truck door, allowing much of the rest of the movie to take place.
Narration.
Main villain betrays people who just bought his lies hook, line, and sinker because reasons?
And this is because this is part of Raccoon's plan to sabotage the heist so that he can keep his position as the leader of the park.
Not to go all Monty Python on you, but pigeons cannot carry squirrels. It's simple weight ratios. And no, not even the African pigeons.
But Surly was shown doing that earlier in the film, so why are you having a problem with it now?
I really f***ing hate this movie.
See what I said earlier.
This all the cops are in the donut shop gag is super fresh and hilarious.
Sinning something you like.
Well, someone saw Speed.
Yeah, I think that is the reference they were making.
This squirrel is a hero!
Is he? Because all I've seen is a greedy, selfish, rude son of a sow, who may have felt guilty a few times, but still hasn't done anything that could be considered solely heroic. Even this vehicle is full of the nuts he wants.
But he saved Grayson from being killed and is now attempting to save the other animals from Raccoon. How are those not heroic?
Surly, no!
Suicide in an animated kids movie.
Well, like I've said before, animated movies usually have dark things as part of their stories.
I know we threw physics out the window a long time ago, but the idea that a wheel at that speed could launch anything to any height is worth at least 2 more sins minimum.
Percy King Dimpleweed.
Percy the King Dimpleweed. Also, glad they resolved that plot line they barely made reference to this entire movie.
Sinning something you like, yet again.
No way, Andy. You may have forgotten the things he's done, but CinemaSins never forgets.
That's ironic since you've said things that contradict each other, such as these sins from the Encanto video.
I thought we would have a different life.
Skip! The song in this scene is great. In fact, all the songs in this movie were great. I'd even say they deserve multiple sin removals, but I'm adding one instead, just because of how mean everyone was to Mirabel. Fully animated Gangnam Style credits? Consider your sins double.
Padding the sin count cliche. And here's the end result, everybody. The sin total is 425, and the sentence will be no food for winter. Thank you for watching, everybody, and have a nice day.